Hi, my name is Theodore Cottingham with the School of God in Eureka Springs, a school like no other, for it's a school birthed of God to bring about the revelation of God in you, to not be separate, where you begin to define things in ways that you never imagined because you begin to think for yourself and decide for yourself what you believe and why. This is a school for you to mature in the things of God rather than just following God, following how you understand a book, following the words of a teacher. I teach for you to learn to teach you first. You see, this is the operation, actually, the process of the new covenant, the promise that God has given every person to teach you directly rather than through the words of another. The purpose of this school is for you to come to an understanding of the revelation of God and begin to allow God to teach you directly in a learning system. That is a system of education. A system of education where you begin to read and learn and write about what you are learning, creating courses about what you are learning in every course. Creating a course is part of the course. As you mature, as you learn, you are creating, and this is a creation process of the Creator to graduate creators. This is not a school to just come study God, no matter what you think of it, no matter what you call it. This is a school to experience God in your shoes, where you become the person of power, a person of grace and beauty, a person who no longer has faith in God, that God exists as someone else, as something else, as an entity to worship, an entity to beg, plead for, that judges you. This is a school that redefines who you are, redefines who God is, redefines the kingdom of God. For you to understand it, not only, but to enter it. You see, you have the privilege and power to enter the kingdom of God before you die. You can learn to enter the kingdom in the daily operation of your life. And the kingdom of God is pretty cool. And you will learn what you do in the kingdom of God and how you do it. And how to communicate without syllables. You see, the kingdom of God is not dependent upon mankind, humanity, or the molecular world. The kingdom of God doesn't come by observation. The kingdom of God, you do not enter by learning about it. The kingdom of God, you enter by becoming it, letting it teach you directly what it is, so that you birth it. You birth the kingdom of God within you. This is what the new birth is about. The newborn. Born anew. Born again. When you become born again, you become a new creation. Born again is a process that you grow into and mature to become something. And what do you become? You become what God is. Coming into the revelation that it is not robbery to be equal with God, you begin to understand the desire of God is for you to be equal, not a worshiper of God, but a becomer of God. But see, the school of God exists for you to come not into the understanding of just my words, or even the words that I have written, to give you the curriculum for this school that I wrote over some 8 years, where God gave 2,400 lessons, a body of material, a substantial body of material that you can come into, that you can enter at your will, and no one can keep you out. You can come into and begin to search it. You can come into the lessons of the kingdom of God that God has given for the school of God to reveal the mind of God in you that you can use to create you again as it. The born again experience does not leave you where it found you. If you really become born again, you're no longer limited to this world. The concept of becoming born again, becoming a new creation, is in fact to no longer be limited to this human race, nor the molecular 3D world. It's exactly what it says, a new creation. And God is creating a new race. A new race because this is the time of the regeneration. God regenerating God. And who is God? All who will be it. For you are creating you right now in separation of God or to be God. Christ or Antichrist. You see, God is a race. And in the school of God, you begin to learn not to worship the image that we have been given of a man, of an entity sitting on a throne, a unitary, solitary judge that you have to please. But see, I'm asking you to think for yourself, learn for yourself who God is from God. This is the purpose of the school and the privilege of every person, of every nation, tribe, and tongue, to learn, to experience, not the wrath of God, but the caressingly tender words of God that form in you as you seek to know God and commune with the communicator who doesn't force syllables down your throat or to speak them. It's your energy, my friends. You are designing you, even now this day. The life of privilege is to have life to design it again. The creator is you, creating the now. To be timeless, if you choose. It's a great privilege. That's why the school exists, to give you a community to study with, to study, to come into the truth, to arrive at the truth, speak the truth, creating the truth. Entering the mind of God to be not separate. Entering the words that God has given to teach you in this school, if you choose to be in this school. And you can be in this school if you choose to. The school of God is present. The school of God is not dependent upon a place. The school of God is not dependent upon a doctrine or a book. The school of God is living, experiential, for you to experience the living Christ, for you to come into it. Christ, a sibling of God, a son, a daughter, all the things that you desire to ask God, you can ask. And God will begin answering you as you never imagined. But my experience is that as you begin to ask and commune with God, that what God is will begin to commune and communicate with you. Not necessarily by just answering your question, but dealing with your heart, dealing with the character of who you really are and how you operate and how you know and how you are known. You see, the King of Kings is growing up the king. Growing up the king, not who will take the King of Kings' place, but all be one mind. Not the mind of separation, not the mind of inclusion, but the mind of transcendent operation. A quantum mind, a quantum being, a new creation. This school exists for you to no longer be limited to your theories, no longer limited to your mind, no longer limited to everyone or everyone's teaching of you to teach you who you are, to put you in a place, to put you as a worker somewhere for the benefit of another, to give you an income. In the kingdom of God, folks, you don't need an income. You don't need to work for someone else. But you may. Because when you enter the kingdom of God to become a new creation, when you experience the birth of the living God in you, it's you. You behold, you are the one. We've only separated God from our mind, but God has not separated from us. God is in us. God is us. We are one. We are all one mind. Though we have inhibited and we have made lives of horror for many people and ourselves to think separation, creating our own hell here on earth. There is no other. I tell you, friends, I assure you, there's not just a place that we have created, you see, in our mind, the way we have some kind of picture of heaven. In your mind, you have some kind of definition that portrays a portrait of God, a portrait of the kingdom. And yet, I tell you, the kingdom of God is within you. The kingdom of God is you. The holy place, the Holy of Holies, is between your ears. Because the mind of God exists in the holy place, the most holy place. And the mind of God is not separate from God. God did not create a mind in us separate from each other. But we became subject to the destruction of those connections. And our power became used by something else. And I've explained this in detail in many videos. You see, You come into this school because you want to know God. You want to know the learning system of God. You want to learn how to allow God to teach you directly. And if you don't want these things, don't come here. The kingdom of God is within you, and you decide what you do with it. So how do you enter the school? By your intent. Want to explore? Want to decide whether you want to come into the school or not? Want to decide for yourself who God is? Come assert your authority to learn from God directly. As a little child, you come into the words. Now let me get more specific. To come into this school, come into Database 1, the lessons that form the curriculum. And where do you begin? Begin at the beginning. There are 2,400 lessons. They're all numbered in a referencing system. There are 7 volumes. And there's over 20 databases. You start with Database 1. Database 1, Volume 1, Lesson 1. So it is denoted and referenced by 1.1.1. Database 1, Volume 1, Lesson 1. And you go read it. See what you think of it. But don't stop there. Read 1.1.2, 1.1.3, 4, 5, 10. But don't stop there. Begin to search. You see, when you begin to read these words, the words of God that God has given directly for the purpose of the revelation of God in you to become not separate, but creating you again to be a new creation of, entering your kingdom here upon the earth, being no more limited to earth, being able to do the things Jesus did. As you begin to come into these words, you may have questions. What about this? What about that? What does this mean? What does that mean? And if you go to the website online, you can search. You can search these 2,400 lessons, and you will find there is a linking system. There is a system of connection. A system of connection that you can walk out your own path. Because the path of you through this school will be unique. And every person's path is unique and precious, purposeful for you to become what you're learning. So you begin to learn and encounter expressions that express the heart of God in ways you may have never known. And you begin to learn to not be afraid of God teaching you directly. You begin to learn the character of God, the nature of God, the desire of God for you to commune with God on a parity level on an equal level? Can you imagine the authority of God in you? For you to possess it, not, but for you to become it, to behold. It is the kingdom of God in you that you really are. The kingdom of God, the Holy of Holies, is within you. It's the desire of God for us to mature and become new creations. Who regenerate God. And in so doing, heal the earth. Stop the wars in brutality. Stop decay and disease forever. And maybe as outlandish as it seems that you have the power to do this, you have the power to, in fact, do all the miracles Jesus did. You become the love of God first. For each other, you first. So this is a process. I ask you, you're invited to the school of God. And if you come here to study, there's tuition. You can find all that out on the website. You can find out a lot more about the surrender process to enter the school by searching the words that have birthed this school, the 2,400 lessons that God has given for you to become the real you. I have several hundred one-minute videos online now of redefining things and coming out of what we've been taught to learn how to crown ourselves with the crown of life, speaking the word of truth to become it, by the teaching of God, God flowing God's words directly through you. I have over 500 videos just like this, many of them 20, 30 minutes, some of them even an hour of teaching, plus the 2,400 lessons that God has given, the first person words of God for you to study. And I've written a book called Jesus the Pattern, How a Common Man Becomes God. Now having the pattern, all can become the pattern. You can find it on the website, theschoolofgod.us. So, I love you. I bless you. And I invite you to increase your understanding, your time, effort, and energy, learning who God really is. And God is much more than the God of the Bible. The Bible that Christians use has become so constricted. But I assure you, God communes with who will commune with God at the table of one. You are unlimited. I invite you to be purposeful and intentional and create the real you by no longer insisting that you're separate, but learning to know who you are through the words of, I am one. My name is Theodore Cottingham in Eureka Springs. I love you all. The school on the website, theschoolofgod.us. And you should know, I may change the name of this school again. For years, it was named the University of the New Covenant. It's probably what I'm going back to, because it's not little, and it's not relegated to a little set of people who want to study something special. This is for all mankind, for all people. Women will learn to be not separate from what God is, becoming Christ in their shoes, and Christ will be women, and the divine feminine will lead the earth. For the words of God are not masculine, they're tender, caressing, containing the truth for you to express it. The first person words of God are the seed. The seed is the word. I love you all. You can write me at Box 34 in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, USA. You can ask me questions, and I may answer them simply in the recordings like this. This is how I teach. This is how I speak. This is how I've entered the kingdom of God, to be not separate, and start a school, because within weeks of beginning to write the first person words of God, the instructions came, the request came to start a school where God would be not only recognized in a class, but God would be allowed to teach in every class. And God would not be restricted. So the school of God is not like any other. I love you all. Search, seek, find. Search the words. Check out online. Database 1 at uoflight.org. You can find it on the school website. I get this thing turned right. This is where the curriculum is. The school website is theschoolofgod.us, and the curriculum is on this website for now. All things change. God changes. Nothing stays the same. All is revealed. There's no mystery about Christ anymore. The communion of God is here, regenerating God to be it in the shoes of who will birth it to become truly new creations. Heal the earth. Your privilege, your power to develop and become the real you. I love you all. Good day. Share these words. Love them. Love yours. Care for your word. Value it. And enjoy me. Enjoy the path set out before you to become the real you, if you choose. Thanks. Good day.